Welcome back to Headlines. I'm Wes Austin, and these are today's top stories. First, Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch clashed with a Maryland school district lawyer over a preschool book that includes terms like drag queen in a parental rights case. When I was in kindergarten, we looked for Waldo. Now, kids in Maryland look for drag queens. We've got the audio clip from the oral arguments. Next, Michelle Obama said on her podcast that black women don't express their pain because society has never given them permission to do so. Apparently, being on every magazine cover, talk show, and streaming platform for a decade wasn't enough permission for the victim that is Michelle Obama. Then, a new report revealed that Harvard University holds over $7 million in endowment funds per student. But they're still suing the Trump administration for freezing their funds. That's like suing your butler because he didn't iron your $100 bills fast enough. Finally, in that same parental rights case I mentioned earlier, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson suggested that parents concerned about public school curriculum conflicting with their religious beliefs have the choice to send their kids elsewhere. I guess separation of church and state now means separation of religious families from public schools they already paid for. Okay, let's dive in. At the Supreme Court, a school in Maryland tried arguing that a book required for 3-year-olds didn't have to do with bondage and drag queens. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch had a heated exchange with the attorney for Montgomery County Public Schools in Maryland. The case centers on parents seeking to opt their young children out of reading LGBTQ+ storybooks teaching radical gender theory in public school.
And they're being used in English language instruction at age 3. Some of them.
So Pride Puppy was the book that was used for the pre-kindergarten curriculum. That's no longer in the curriculum.
That's the one where they are supposed to look for the leather and things and bondage, things like that.
It's not bondage. It's a woman in a leather.
Sex worker, right?
No.
No?
That's not correct. No.
I read it.
It's a drag queen and
Drag queen and drag
correct.
queen.
The leather that they're pointing to is a woman in a leather jacket. And one of the words is drag queen in the search.
And they're supposed to look for those.
It is an option at the end of the book, correct?
Yeah, okay.
So it's not a sex worker, it's a drag queen. I'm glad we cleared that up for the 3-year-olds. I like the attorney's argument against it. It's not a drag queen, it's just a woman in a leather jacket and chaps. You know, BDSM casual. Can you imagine the teacher in that class of preschoolers? Okay, so after you've found the drag queen, please start working on your ABCs using Grindr. If you're defending a preschool book by clarifying that it's not bondage, it's just a drag queen in leather, maybe it's not the parents that are the problem. On her new podcast, Michelle Obama recently said that black women don't articulate their pain because society has never given them permission to do so.
We don't articulate as black women our pain because it's almost like nobody ever gave us permission to do that.
And does anyone care?
Yeah, there's that.
Do they care?
Why wait to be asked?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like what we go through is pretty obvious. I mean, maybe we're not complaining, but we're actually living life out loud, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Michelle says that society won't let her articulate her pain. I guess book tours and magazine covers and Netflix deals just aren't the safe spaces they used to be. You'd think that nobody's pain has been more carefully documented, published, and monetized than Michelle Obama's. But you'd be wrong. Apparently, there's a leper colony off of the coast of Madagascar that hasn't heard about her hairstyle trauma yet. If anyone should be talking about their pain, it's Barack. He's been living with the director's cut of her monologue since law school. According to a new report, Harvard has raked in $4.4 billion in federal funding since 2017. So students at Harvard aren't really customers anymore, they're props. Harvard's endowment stands at $53.2 billion, growing $2 billion annually since 2018. I haven't seen that much unearned wealth since Hunter Biden discovered the paint splatter technique. So Harvard has over $7 million per undergraduate student, but they're still suing the Trump administration for freezing their federal funds. As far as I can tell, Harvard isn't a school, it's a hedge fund that occasionally dabbles in gender studies. Harvard has $53 billion in its endowment, which grows by $2 billion a year, but still needs federal handouts. It's like watching Jeff Bezos apply for food stamps after arriving in his $500 million yacht. Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson thinks that if your public school's curriculum violates your religious beliefs, that's okay because you can just pay for your kids to go to private school. In oral arguments in a case that centers on parents seeking to opt their young children out of reading LGBTQ+ storybooks that teach radical gender theory in public school, this is what Justice Jackson said.
I guess I'm struggling to see how it burdens a parent's religious exercise if the school teaches something that the parent disagrees with. You have a choice. You don't have to send your kid to that school. You can put them in another situation. The parent can choose to put their kid elsewhere. You don't have to send your kid to public school.
So Jackson is saying that it's fine if your public school's curriculum violates your religious beliefs because you can either just pay for private school or quit your job and homeschool them. You have a choice, she says. Sure, between indoctrination and bankruptcy. The government telling religious parents they have a choice to leave public schools is like your boss telling you that you have a choice to quit if you don't like sexual harassment. Justice Jackson's proposition is simple. When it comes to public schools, why settle for banning Bibles when you can also ban the people who read them? Thanks for watching Headlines. I'm Wes Austin. Good night.
Please like, comment, and